Hello. Today's story is about a shop. It's a rather special kind of shop. So I think we'd better go and stand outside and look through the window. This is the shop. So are you ready for the story? There were so many things in Mr. Dick's junk shop that he had quite forgotten what some of them were. There were tables with funny legs, chairs with wobbly backs, beds with broken springs, and all kinds of things. "Oh, what a muddle," Mrs. Dick would grumble. "Why don't you get rid of some of it?" "Oh, yes, all right, my dear, I will," Mr. Dick would murmur, but he never did. Right over in a dark and dusty corner, hidden away by piles of furniture, was an old piano. It had once belonged to a famous pianist, but that was a very long time ago. It had once had right across its front, in gleaming gold lettering, its name, Trumple Metzel. But over the years, the lettering had faded away, until only the word Trumple remained. There was no one to play Trumple now, only Grey Whisker Mouse, who ran over the keys at night time. There was no one to listen to Trumple's music either, except, that is, for Jumbo, the white wooden elephant with only one tusk, standing close beside the piano in the dark corner. He loved to hear the sounds that Trumple made when Grey Whisker Mouse ran over the keys. "Oh, what wonderful music," he would say. "Please, Trumple, let us have that tune again." One day, when Mrs. Dick came down into the shop, she complained again to Mr. Dick. "Oh, it's about time you turned out most of this rubbish. Or that piano, for instance, that should be chopped up for firewood. Oh, and that dreadful old white elephant. Just look at it. It's only got one tusk." "Oh, I suppose you're right, my dear," sighed Mr. Dick. "Nobody seems to want such things nowadays. I'll see about it tomorrow." That night, when the pale moonbeams shone through the darkness into Mr. Dick's shop, Grey Whisker Mouse came out to scamper over the piano's ivory keys. He couldn't understand why the piano played such a sad tune. "What's wrong, Trumple?" he asked. "Oh, didn't you hear what Mr. Dick said?" wailed Trumple. "Tomorrow I shall be chopped up for firewood." "Why don't you run away?" asked the mouse. "How can I?" cried the piano. "I may have legs, but I can't move them." "If only I could help," boomed Jumbo. "Real elephants are very strong. If only I could move." "I could help you," said Grey Whisker. "I'll get all my family. Together we could move you." "Oh, thank you," replied Trumple sadly. "I'm afraid I would be much too heavy for little mice like you." "But there are lots of us. Just you wait and see," answered Grey Whisker Mouse eagerly. He gave a low whistle, and out of every nook and cranny, up from the floorboards, down from the rafters, came Grey Whisker's brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles and cousins in their hundreds. Together they pushed and pulled and panted, but they couldn't manage to move the piano even an inch. "Oh dear, what shall we do now?" cried all the mice. "If only I could move," boomed Jumbo the elephant. A blue moon had risen high in the sky and was shining full on the white elephant. And in the magic moonlight, something very wonderful happened. Look at Jumbo! He moved! I'm sure he moved!" squeaked Grey Whisker Mouse excitedly. "Yes!" boomed Jumbo. "At last I really can help now, but I'll have to act fast. This kind of magic only happens once in a blue moon, and it doesn't last long." He was so eager to help that before any of the mice could stop him, he pushed against the piano with all his strength. The piano started to move. It slid right across the floor, slowly at first, then faster and faster until with a crash, it had burst the shop door right open. "Oh, no," groaned Grey Mouse. "Now you've done it. You'll have woken everybody up. Both of you escape quickly whilst you can." "Oh, yes, I think perhaps we'd better," said the elephant slowly, and he tried to lower his head to push the piano again. But nothing happened. The moon had disappeared behind a cloud. "Oh dear," groaned the elephant. "I said this magic wouldn't last. I can't move at all now." Jumbo was so sad he would have cried, but his wooden eyelids wouldn't even blink. Fortunately, Trumple the piano had landed out in the street on 4 legs and wasn't hurt at all, only rather shaken. Lights were being switched on in all the houses round about. People came running. A policeman was called, and Mr. Dick came downstairs to see what was happening. "Oh, how did that piano get there?" puzzled Mr. Dick. "Burglars, I expect, sir," said the policeman. "Oh, you must have some very valuable things in your shop." "Oh, well, I wouldn't say that," said Mr. Dick, still wondering how the piano had got into the street. "Yes, he has valuable things," said Mrs. Dick. "He has lots of priceless antiques, very valuable." There was a buzz of excitement through the crowd, and a newspaper reporter in the front row wrote busily in his notebook. The next morning, there was a big queue of customers when Mr. Dick went down to open the shop. They had seen in the newspapers the report of the attempted burglary, and as soon as they read that all the old things in Mr. Dick's junk shop were priceless antiques, they wanted to buy them. People were buying things so quickly there soon wouldn't be any need for Mr. Dick to turn out or chop up anything, although no one seemed to want the old piano or the white elephant with only 1 tusk. Mr. Dick was just about to close the shop so that he and Mrs. Dick could have their dinner when there was a great banging at the shop door. "Oh, whoever can that be?" said Mr. Dick crossly. Then, "Oh, it's you. Come in, young man." He recognised the young man on the doorstep. He was a music student who lived down the street. "Oh, the piano!" panted the young man who'd been running hard. I heard you have a piano for sale. Can I see it?" "Mr. Dick will let you have it cheap," said Mrs. Dick before her husband could say anything, "if you buy this white wooden elephant as well." Oh, the young man hesitated. He could hardly afford to buy the piano. Then he ran his fingers gently over Trumple's keys, giving Grey Whisker Mouse, who was still inside the piano, quite a fright. "Oh, I like the sound it makes," smiled the young man. He looked at the white elephant. It seemed to be smiling too. "All right," said the young man. "Somehow I think that elephant belongs with the piano, so I will take them both." Jumbo was so happy, and so was Trumple. "Oh, you won't regret it, young man," Mr. Dick was saying. "Why, with a beautiful piano like that, you'll soon become a famous musician." And you know, he was right. But that's another story. And that's all we've time for. But I look forward to reading you another story another time. Goodbye.